bent leg hamstring, just because that's the easiest thing to kind of flow into, for me anyways. So we're gonna kind of see and feel what the hip feels like. It feels like we can get up there. And I know that this isn't hamstring that's stopping him because his hamstrings are nice and loose here, but this is kind of where I'm starting to feel some resistance from the hip. So I know when I'm doing the bent knee hamstring, I'm not really gonna go with his hip past here because this is where his hip is kind of reaching its limit, and I know hamstring isn't involved here. So I'm gonna bring him back a little, and we're gonna start to slowly straighten that hamstring or straighten that knee around wherever I choose to be his hip spot. So we said we can be up on the table like I am here, or if we wanted to be off the table, just slide a little bit more towards this way a little bit. Here we go, just to get closer to the edge, which means I can be standing off the side. Just lower the table down a little bit more. And I can either lock my arm in against my side tight like this, or preferably, especially if I'm gonna do PNF, I'm gonna get my shoulder in there, because now I'm rock solid and I'm not going anywhere. So we get to that stretch, and we're gonna have them do a hamstring curl. So pull your heel in towards your butt, touch your heel to your butt. Yep, keep going, pull, 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 pull. 3, 2, 1, beautiful, relax. And we can go a little bit further. And we backed out of that. We know we're not gonna get the hip quite as far when we do the straight leg hamstring. So here, we get underneath again.
Really
Tight hamstrings. So from here, it's the same deal. I want you to bring your heel down towards the table. Yep, keep going, push me into the table, push me into the table, keep going, dig me in, keep going, 2, 1, good, relax. And we should be able to get a tiny bit further. And this is already further than you were at the beginning of today.
yeah.
God, at the beginning of today, you were like down here.
Yes.
All right. Let's go into piriformis. So I'm up on the table here. I'm going to show you both ways to do this, even though in the real world I'm not going to do it both ways. I'm going to choose one. We're going to get into a table twister. So I've got my one knee in close to his butt, and I've got the other leg around his to block it from falling off the bolster and rolling that way. And I'm going to get my right arm, my further away arm, on his ankle, like right around the malleoli here. That's a good place to push, because I don't want to push from here and torque the ankle. I want to be above the ankle, so I'm using this lower leg, not the ankle. Once I can, I want to get my forearm resting on my leg so that I can use my leg and twisting my body rather than using my arm to do the pushing. You can see how much more I'm struggling here to get the same pressure as here. I'm much more relaxed here, much easier to hold. Okay? So we said we like knee over top of hip because we can keep everything consistent. We're gonna rotate, and we're rotating, and we're rotating, and they say, oh yeah, that kind of hurts in the front there. It feels like something's pinching in my hip. So we're gonna drop them back out into the side, and we do that same rotation, and a lot of times if someone's getting pinching up there, that gets rid of it if we drop them out into the side. Versus we're here, we're where we want them, we're rotating, and they're getting pretty close to this like perpendicular to the table, their shin being perpendicular here. So we're saying, okay, you're pretty flexible, so what we're gonna do now instead is actually cross you over towards the opposite shoulder. I'm keeping the same rotation that I wanted. I'm keeping this angle the same. I'm just taking the whole thing and pushing it away from me towards that opposite shoulder. And that'll really start to get that piriformis in the butt cheek better. Okay? Now, if we wanted to do the fancy one, the one we only do for our favorites, we're gonna be in that same angle here, and I'm gonna take one arm, right? I've got this one to do the torquing and the pushing. I need to take my other one, so in this case my left, or my closer to him arm, and we're reaching underneath, and I'm gonna get hand up on top of my thigh here, so I can use it as a lever, and I'm gonna lift him up off the table just a little bit. You can see his hips lifting off, and I'm gonna do that same rotation and lean now that we got a little bit of that decompression in the hip at the same time. All right, going a little bit out of order, because if I didn't want to do it up on the table, I would go over here, and this is how I would do it. Gonna be here with our nice little underhooks, right? That way. Here, we got him pinned up against my side, he's nice and supported. And we're just gonna start walking up this way, bringing his foot up towards his head. Once again, we get up here and it's pinching in the front. We drop it down and away. We do that same rotation. A lot of times that takes care of it. Or like what's happening here, we're getting close to perpendicular to the table, and we're not really feeling too much. All right, we're gonna start to bring you up and across towards that opposite shoulder. While we're here, we said we can do IT band, so we got that underhook. We're gonna sacrifice our hand that was on the knee, put it on the hip instead to tack that down. And remember, we said people with tight hamstrings, gotta keep them really, really low. So we might have to drop this bolster in order to keep it a little bit lower, but just for this, we keep it as low as we can just to clear the other leg while we keep this hip pinned down here. We bring it across. I like this underhook for support. If I'm feeling extra lazy, I'm putting the arm behind my back, and I can totally relax this arm and just use my body to shift over. Back to our other side, we had our two adductors that we could do. We got straight across, or we got a hand here, and we're coming out to the side. Remember, we got it pinned against our hips so that I can get, see that traction. I get as much as I want there. I hold it, and then we're gonna walk out to the side until we're getting that good stretch on the inside of the thigh there. We're back to PNF now. We didn't do it for the other ones because it was just weird, and we're not gonna do it. So we have a hand here, because when you contract one side, you're contracting both sides for the adductors. So we got a hand here, squeeze me between your legs. Squeeze, and I'm just gonna go up against the table so that I'm not going anywhere, and I've got this arm here. If this leg decides to follow, good, relax. We can pull that traction back out, and we can walk a little bit further out to the side. And then we had that 45-degree one for that fourth hamstring for adductor magnus. I like to get my outside shoulder. Again, hand is here. So we get our stretch. Squeeze me between your legs. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. 2, 1, good. And we get a little further. You can see because I can't even reach anymore, whereas I was able to reach just fine. All right. Unless I'm forgetting one, and I don't think I am. I might be. Oh, sciatic nerve. We're not doing PNF for that one. We just kind of briefly mentioned knee straight. We can do this guy, where we can add that dorsiflexion and toe extension to get a little bit more of that stretch all along the posterior back line there. And then we had, to finish it off, the twisty one, boom, that we did a couple different ways. First and easiest, legs on the same side. We pin the shoulder further away, and we start to rotate them towards us. And we said we like to do this one with breathing. So breathe all the way in for me, all the way out, all the way in one more time. And you'll see how he naturally opens back up as he breathes in. I didn't pull him. And then we push all the way down and we tell them breathe out nice and slow. When you don't want me to push anymore, you stop breathing. That tells me when. We hold it and we let them back. If we want to up the ante a little bit, we cross this leg over. It's going to stretch the glute a little bit more, so we don't expect them to make it quite so far. Pin here still, big breath in, all the way out. When you stop breathing out is when I stop cranking on you, boom. And then you can go back to breathing normal. We're not doing PNF for these, it's just not worth it. And then we can add in the third step where we cross this arm over. Once we cross this over, we could bring this leg back and we could do it from the same place as the first position, or we can combine all three. This is about as aggressive as you can get this one. So we're gonna be pushing this arm across instead of holding the opposite shoulder down. Give us a big breath in, and all the way out, and we hold. If it's someone I've got to put a little bit more force into, I might get here, because that's just better lever for me to work with. Here. All right. I think that is all of them.